All right. Shalom Yasharala. Before we get started, we gonna give our praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachak Wadash, and double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone that teach and rule well. Peace and salutations to the 04 elect. Back another video, another lesson. The title of this was gonna be called was God, all right, the Most High Yahweh against multiple wives. All right, was the Most High against multiple wives or having multiple women. All right, and I got this video off of Instagram, and it's a woman and her husband. I guess they're having Bible study, and she asked a question. Was having more than one wife, but you'll hear it. Was it God ordained? And the question is, if the Lord was it, well, I'm gonna let you hear it first, and then I'll give you my statement. So let's get into it.
The polygamy.
Yeah.
Do you think that was something God wanted?
No, I don't think so. Because if
Yeah.
it was, I think he would have created two women instead of one.
Ooh.
So
yes.
God, when he said it's not good, he gave him one woman.
Yes.
Not two.
There's a good amount of people that look at the Bible and they see these great men who have multiple wives and concubines, and they're like, if they can do it,
Yeah.
it gotta be God ordained, right? Because we see David, right? You got David, Solomon, and Abraham. Like, these are important people.
Yeah.
But if we look deeply in their story, a lot of them having the multiple wives, it led to
issues,
heartbreaks, and family discord, and just disasters, right?
Yeah.
Death even, right? Like, so much has happened from that if you don't really pay attention to it, you'll miss it.
Yeah.
And that's what made me feel like, no. That was not God ordained.
So, they give their reason, on why having multiple women wasn't God ordained. And then it's the question I have. If the Most High didn't ordain it, why didn't he kill him? Why didn't the Lord, have him put to death? If it was against his will. You see? Even now David. Now Solomon did have over 1,000 women. But if the Lord was against that, he would have killed Solomon or put him to death. Or now Solomon did go off, but even if you have 1,000 women or one woman, as we see with Adam, and even with Adam, we don't know if he had more than one wife, because he had more children, right or wrong. Let's get an example. Let's go to Genesis. Is it 5? The descendants of Adam, right? And these are the sons of God. Okay. This is the book, all right, of Genesis chapter 5, verse 1. It says, "This is the book of the generations of Adam, in the day that the Elohim, God, created man. In the likeness of God made he him. Male and female created he them, and blessed them, and called their name Adam, in the day when they were created. And Adam lived 130 years, and begat a son in his own likeness, after his image, and called his name Seth. In the days of Adam, after he had begotten Seth, were 800 years, and he begat sons and daughters." So Adam had more than one son. Well, we know his firstborn children were Cain and Abel, right? You know the story of Cain and Abel. Cain slew Abel. He got marked, right? Then he had another child. He had Seth. Seth was his thirdborn son, right? And it says right here, in the days of Adam, after he had begotten Seth, were 800 years. So Adam lived 800 years. And he begat sons and daughters. So he had more children after Seth, and he lived 800 years. Between the 800 years, we don't know if Adam had another woman. Now I'm not making that to a doctrine, but we don't know. You see what I'm saying? He was saying the same thing with Seth. It says, "And Seth lived 105 years and begat Enos. And Seth lived after he begat Enos 807 years and begat sons and daughters." So these men who are in the forefront, Enos and Canaan, all right, and Mahalalel, Methuselah, right, Jared, Enoch. These men had relatives. They had brothers and sisters. It says not sons and daughters, right? You know, their fathers, they had more children. You know, it doesn't give us how many children they had, you know, but it had to have been a lot because, you know, they were filling up the earth. You know what I'm saying? But we don't know if these men had, you know, more than one wife. That's just a expectation. You know what I'm saying? So we don't know if Adam had another, you know, maybe he had another wife. Because he did live 800 years. You see? But having more than one woman is not, you know, is not. That's what we did back in, you know, ancient Israel. Men had more than one woman, Salakia. All right? Let's get 2 Samuel 12. Okay? Now, this is what David did. David did go off because he got, what's the woman's name? Bathsheba. He had a man murdered, for one. All right, then he committed adultery. You see? So he had a man murdered and committed adultery. That alone the Lord could have put him to death just for that. You see? But obviously he had favor. The Lord showed him favor. But this is 2 Samuel 12. 2 Samuel chapter 12 and verse, I'm going to start at 7. It says, and Nathan said to David, I got to start at 1. Matter of fact, I got to start at 1. It says, and the Lord, his name is Yahweh, sent Nathan unto David, and he came unto him and said unto him, there were 2 men in one city, the one rich and the other poor. The rich man had exceeding many flocks and herds, but the poor man had nothing, save one little ewe lamb. It says, which he had bought and nourished up, and it grew up together with him and with his children. It did eat of his own meat, and drank of his own cup, and lay in his bosom. It was unto him as a daughter. So he basically had a pet lamb, if you want to say. Like we got pets today. And there came a traveler unto the rich man, and he spared to take of his own flock and of his own herd to dress for the wayfaring man that was come unto him, but took the poor man's lamb and dressed it for the man that was come to him. So he stole the poor man's lamb that he brought up. And David's anger was greatly kindled against the man. And he said to Nathan, as Yahweh liveth, the man that have done this thing shall surely die. And he shall restore the lamb fourfold, because he did this thing, and because he had no pity. And Nathan said to David, thou art the man. Thus said the Lord, power of Israel, Yahweh. All right. I anointed thee king over Israel, and I delivered thee out of the hand of Saul. I gave thee thy master's house, and thy master's wives into thy bosom, and gave thee the house of Israel and of Judah. And if it had been too little, I would moreover have given you, Salaki, I'm a little excited. I would moreover have given unto thee such and such things. So the Most High basically saying, if that was, if you wanted more women, I could have gave you more women, So if it wasn't God ordained, why did he say that? I'm going to start at verse 7, NLT. Then Nathan said to David, you are that man. The Lord, all right, the power of Israel says, I anointed you king over Israel and saved you from the power of Saul. I gave your master's house and his wives and the kingdoms of Israel and Judah. If that had not been enough, I would have given you much, much more. So basically the Most High said, I could have given you more women if you wanted that. There was no need for David to go to murder a man, then take his wife and commit adultery with her. There was no need for that. The Lord would have gave you another, probably more women, because David had a lot of women. He had concubines, he had wives. There was nothing for the Lord to give him more if he wanted that. So if it wasn't, if having multiple women wasn't polygamy, what they call it, if that wasn't God ordained, why did he tell David, I'd have gave you more if you wanted more? See, Christians don't read the Bible. They want to stay in the New Testament. Let's get Deuteronomy 21:15, right? Domestic relations. I'll start at 10. It says, when thou goest forth to war against thine enemies, and the Lord Yahweh, thy power, have delivered them into thy hands, and thou hast taken them captive, excuse me, and seest among the captives a beautiful woman, and hast a desire unto her, that thou wouldest have her to thy wife, then thou shalt bring her home to thine house, and she shall shave her head and pare her nails, and she shall put the raiment of her captivity from off her, and shall remain in thine house, and bewail her father and her mother a full month. And after that thou shalt go in unto her, and be her husband, and she shall be thy wife, she's probably a concubine. And if it says, and it shall be, if thou have no delight in her, then thou shalt let her go whither she will. But thou shalt not sell her at all for money. Thou shalt not make merchandise of her, because thou hast humbled her. You see that? So a man could have, if you were going forth to war with your enemies, who are our enemies? The Edomites, the Ishmaelites, the Moabites, the Ammonites. It tells you that in Psalms 83. You know, you were going to, let's say we went to war with the Ammonites or the Ishmaelites. If we saw a beautiful woman among them, we would take one. You know, we would take them and have her as a concubine. You see, because a concubine is just a lesser status of a wife. You know, verse 15: if a man have two wives, one beloved and another hated, and they have borne him children, both the beloved and the hated, and if the firstborn son be hers that was hated, then it shall be, when he maketh his sons to inherit that which he hath, that he may not make the son of the beloved firstborn, all right, before the son of the hated, which is indeed the firstborn. But he shall acknowledge the son of the hated for the firstborn, by giving him a double portion of all that he hath, for he is the beginning of his strength. The right of the firstborn is his, you see? So a man can have 2 wives, 3 wives, 4 wives, you know? It doesn't, it's not against, how should I say this? The Lord, wasn't against men having multiple women. Look at Solomon. Although he did go off, and when he got older, he started going after the other gods of these women that he had. You see? Let's get this is gonna be short. Let's get Exodus. I'll show you Exodus. Exodus 21:10. If he take him another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall he not diminish. So if you get another wife, you got to do the same thing. You still got to do the same duties for your first wife. You can't put her off. Let's get another translation. NLT: if a man who has married a slave wife takes another wife for himself, he must not neglect the rights of the first wife to food, clothing, and sexual intimacy. Boom. All right, NIV: if he marries another woman, he must not deprive the first one of her food, clothing, and marital rights. And ET: if he takes another wife, he must not diminish the right. He must not diminish the first one's food, her clothing, or her marital rights. See, so you still got to do the same thing for your first woman, even if you get another one. You see, so nothing wrong with having multiple women. And this is something we always go over. This is Isaiah 4:1. All right, it says, "In that day, 7 women." In what day? The time of, when all hell breaking loose, Jacob's trouble. It says, "In that day, 7 women," which 7 just means a complete number. All right, some brothers may have 10, 20, 30, 40 women. Just put a number out there. "In that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying," and it's not just any man. I got to say that. These are men of the elect. These are men of the Lord, of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. All right, not just any Joe Schmo out here. "And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach." You see? Hey, a brother may have 5, 10, 15, 20 women on him. But there's nothing wrong with that. And this is going to happen on this side, not in the kingdom. Okay? Let's get this last one. Let's get Genesis. Even our forefathers had, multiple wives. Although she did bring up Abraham and David and Solomon. Gideon, Gideon had many sons because he had many wives. Rehoboam, I believe he had wives at 18. I believe. Matter of fact, we'll get it after this. Verse 20. And it came to pass after these things that it was told Abraham, saying, Behold, Milcah, she have also borne children unto thy brother Nahor. Huz his firstborn, and Buz his brother, and Kemuel the father of Aram, and Chesed, and Hazo, and Pildash, and Jidlaph, and Bethuel. And Bethuel begat Rebekah. These 8 Milcah did bear to Nahor, Abraham's brother, and his concubine, whose name was Remuah. She bare also Teba, and Gaham, and Thahash, and Machath, and Ma'at, Salakia, Makah. I hope I said that right. You see, so Abraham's brother Nahor had a wife, and he had a concubine. Nothing wrong with that. See, let's get that that it was I know it's the 2nd Chronicles. Let me see. Let's type in Rehoboam. Come on. Rehoboam. I know it's the 2nd Chronicles somewhere. Yeah, I think this is it. Yep. Rehoboam, this is 2nd Chronicles 11 and 18. It says, And Rehoboam took him Mahalath, the daughter of Jeremoth, the son of David, to wife, and Abihail, the daughter of Eliab, the son of Jesse, which bare him children, Juesh, and Shamariah, and Zaham. And after her he took Maacah, the daughter of Absalom, right, which bare him Abijah, and Attai, and Ziza, and Shilomith. And Rehoboam loved Maacah, the daughter of Absalom, above all his wives and his concubines. For he took 18 wives and 60 concubines, and begat 28 sons and 60 daughters. Ooh. Let's get this in the NLT. Verse 21. Rehoboam loved Maacah more than any of his other wives and concubines. In all, he had 18 wives. And 60 concubines. Oh my goodness. And they gave birth to 28 sons and 60 daughters. Woo! See? And when we had these women, when we had multiple women, they were virgins. They weren't like women today. All right, when we got women back in ancient Israel, they were virgins. They were women who weren't touched. You see? They weren't harlots. like women today. So if having multiple women wasn't God ordained, he would have a problem with it. He probably would have put him to death on the spot. But he didn't. He had mercy on David after what he did. So was God against multiple wives? Obviously he wasn't. The answer is no. Okay. So Lord's will, this was edifying to you brothers and you few sisters out there. All right. We will give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachakodash, and double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone, the teacher and rule well. Peace and salutations to the whole four elect, and the Wadi Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, for giving the spirit to this lesson. Wills will use edified. To the next video, I'm going to say, Shalom.